So it's now 20 minutes to 8 o'clock, and like you're very much aware, today is 30th of November, the very last day in the month of November. Tomorrow we get to usher in the month of December. Now, we know that the month of December will definitely, bring along with it Christmas. And then we enter 2024 with a new year. Now, so it's that time of the year where, you and I know that our roads will become very, very busy with, both human and vehicular, traffic. Now, unfortunately, the 2022 edition of the Road Safety Report on Kumasi shows that the youth of Kumasi were dying more through accidents. Now, you and I know that during Christmas, a lot of youth engage in a lot of activities. They take in a lot of stuff, and therefore they, sometimes misbehave on our roads, causing problems for themselves and many others. Now, the findings from the report show that from 2021 to 2022, the number of reported road traffic crashes, and these are reported cases, many of them go unreported, all right? But the number of reported road traffic crashes in Kumasi rose by 24%. So how do we bring it down from the 24% increase? So virtually what this means is that we had 1,255, and that was in 2021, but in 2022 it's increased to 1,550. However, road traffic death dropped from 160 to 134. Now, the report also noted that pedestrian and motorcyclists accounted for 84% of the reported fatalities in 2022. So people who walk on the shoulder of the roads, people who walk, on our streets, people who are riding motorcyclists, they accounted to about 84% of the reported fatalities in 2022. And don't forget that at one point in time you may be driving, but you park your car and you become a pedestrian and you would walk on the street. I say the street because the pavements have been taken over by people who are into trading. Now, males also accounted for 78% of deaths and 67% of serious injuries. Now, in line with our ensuring road safety during the Yuletide and beyond, Love FM, or let me say Multimedia, Kumasi, has launched the Xmas Road Safety, or the 2023 Road Safety Campaign Program. This morning, we want to look at how we can find solutions to ensure safety on our roads between now, 2024, and beyond. We want to, have this conversation together with you as to what we can do to ensure safety on our roads. I'd love for you to be, with me through the month of December, through the month of January 2024, and throughout the year 2024 and beyond. So what would you want to say to authorities like the DVLA? What would you want to say to the DVLA? What would you want to say to the Road Safety Commission? What would you want to say to the MTTD? What are your expectations of them? Listen, your views are very much welcome as to how we can stay safe out there, as to what your expectations are of the DVLA, the Road Safety, and of course the MTTD. Send them to our WhatsApp number 055-1111-995. That's our WhatsApp number, 055-1111-995, as we talk safety on our roads as we get close to, Christmas. We are live on Facebook, and on Facebook, you get to see pictures and videos of things that we've been able to put together just to alert you as to how dangerous our roads are. Join us on Facebook on Love in the Morning. That's how you can find us on Facebook, Love in the Morning. Now, we would have loved to have had a conversation with the MTTD, but unfortunately for some time now, they've been instructed not to speak to the media. That is how come when there are criminal activities that goes on in Ashanti, there are road traffic irregularities that goes on in Ashanti, we're not able to speak to the police. They've been instructed not to speak. So try as we may yesterday to get them on board, we're not successful to have gotten them to be a part of our conversation. But all the same, you ought to say something to them. All right, speak to the MTTD as to what you expect of them. All right, what do you want to say to them as what your expectations are of them? But fortunately for us, we have the DVLA regional boss. He is with us on the phone lines. Mr. Abaka is the name. We also have, our engineer, Dr. Aka with the BRRI, also with us on the phone lines. Gentlemen, good morning to you, and thanks very much for making time to join us. All right, so let me do this. Mr. Amos Abaka, can you hear me?
Yes, David. The line is a little faint, but I can hear you.
Okay, we'll try to see what we can do about it, to make it better for you. But thanks for making time to join us. Dr. Aka, good morning.
Good morning, David. Good morning to your listeners.
And of course,
again, the line is very faint and I'm finding it difficult hearing.
All right, so we'll see what we can do about it. I'm sure that is going to get better shortly. Mr. Bakar, let me start off this conversation with you because you are the head of the DVLA here in the Ashanti region. So, as you're very much aware, we have launched the Multimedia 2023 Road Safety Campaign. We launched it yesterday just to create awareness about the dangers on our roads and the fact that we need to stay safe out there between now and Christmas and even beyond. How would you say the launch went? How did it go like for you yesterday?
Yeah, I think it was excellent. The objective is to make the public aware that perennially when the Christmas is coming, accidents always is on the ascendancy. So creating the awareness a month clear before the incident, I think is a very good. I think the attendance was okay, the patronage was nice, and I think that it was a good thing.
It took place around the VIP area. You said it was excellent, it was beautiful, it was perfect, the attendance was good. What are some of the things you communicated to the drivers about? What were some of the issues they themselves had that they shared with you?
Okay, so basically, we went there to remind them of the need to slow down because statistically, we've seen that accident is mainly led by overspeeding within the Kumasi and then the whole nation. Major cause of road traffic accident is overspeeding. So we went there to remind them of the need to moderate their speed within this period and beyond. The need for them to ensure that their vehicles are maintained. The need for them to ensure that their vehicles and even the drivers have the right documentation. They need to ensure that they put up the right behavior whilst on the road. They also, in turn, were telling us some of the challenges they face. For instance, potholes on the road, traffic lights that are not working, and so on and so forth. So that was basically a summary of what went on.
But as regional boss for the DVLA, Mr. Amos Abakan, what would you say the plans are for the DVLA to ensure safety on our roads?
Thank you very much. For us, safety is all year round. Safety is all year round. So one of the innovations of DVLA is to put out the compliance and enforcement team. And so that team goes out 4 days in a week throughout the year. And the objective is to remind people the need to always ensure that they adhere to the road traffic regulations. One, ensure that your vehicle is properly documented, you have the right documentation, the driver is also having the right documents, is driving the appropriate car, the right licenses. And so for us, safety is all year round. If you also follow, you see that one of the innovations we brought on board is to ensure that drivers who come for licenses are tested, their eyes are tested by the certified optometrists and ophthalmologists. Previously, these things were done by equipment procured by DVLA, and it didn't have the capacity to be able to forecast going forward in future what is going to happen. And so bringing them on board, make sure that at least you are able to check your sight at least once in 2 years at a cost that is manageable. You are compelled to do that, and so on and so forth. And so for DVLA, safety is every day. And so in all our activities, we have ensured that road safety, it features prominently. We talk about the private garages that were introduced some way back. And the import of it is that they check vehicles. Since DVLA itself didn't have the equipment to check vehicles before they are issued roadworthy, we outsource them to the private garages to ensure that vehicles are properly tested. Of course, there are gaps which are currently reviewing in order to close them to ensure that the objectives are certainly met.
When you talk about gaps, what do you mean by gaps? Because indeed, one of my questions has to do with the fact that there are a lot of people complaining about some of the vehicles we have on our road, saying that their vehicles are not supposed to be roadworthy. So what are these gaps? And when your men go out, you talk about the compliance and enforcement team. When they go out, do they see some of these vehicles that are not supposed to be on our roads? What action do they take? There's a gentleman who plies the Tech Road. He has no hands, yet he's driving. So when you talk about your compliance and your enforcement team who go out 4 days a week, able to act accordingly to ensure that road vehicles that are not roadworthy are not on our roads, people who are not certified to drive are not driving.
Okay, so when I talk of gaps, we really notice that some of the vehicles that are on the road truly are not supposed to be on the road. And so we are begin reviewing our partnership with the private garages. We are currently undertaking inspection of the private garages to ensure that those gaps are closed, so that when they say they have tested a vehicle, it is really tested. DVLA is in the process of ensuring getting equipment to link up from our offices to the private garage so that we can directly monitor what they do. DVLA, once again, is, and most people don't know that sometimes when these private garages don't do what they are supposed to do, we sanction them. They are taken on, some of them are suspended until they put in place the necessary measures before they are asked to get back to work. Again, the compliance and enforcement team, unfortunately, it's just one team. Kumasi is big, and so they just rotate, but they are on the road. And so it's just a small team, I mean, compared to the size of Kumasi. Nevertheless, when they get there, whatever challenges they see with your vehicle, if it needs to be suspended, they will. Fortunately, now we have the capacity to even suspend your roadworthy and your documentation, which will be communicated to you. And the only way that it will be reinstated will be that you come back to the office and having fixed the challenges that were identified with a particular vehicle before it is released for you to be able to get back on the road.
But Mr. Baka, all these are being done, yet accidents is quite high. Why?
Well, like we said, accidents are mostly caused by, majority of it is what we call speeding. Okay? And on that score, mainly the police MTTD is in charge of enforcement. We are doing our bit. You know, it is not for nothing that various stakeholders were given specific roles to play on the road environment. You understand? So everybody will have to meet up and then do their part in order to, because DVLA alone cannot solve all of this problem. Other agencies would also have to get involved so that holistically, all of this, we collaborate every step of the way. But certainly true. We are doing our part.
So, but are you satisfied with the work of the police in fighting, road safety, challenges?
We do go on routine checks with them some of the times. We collaborate in some of the activities that we undertake. You see, so definitely safety cannot be solved in a day, and it's everybody's responsibility. There are some of them too that are infrastructure. For instance, you also see that the data says that most of the people who are knocked down are pedestrians, and you can see that the nature and the construction of our roads, virtually no walkway for pedestrians, and so you also contribute to that kind of incidents. And so not just that, we would also have to make sure that the roads themselves are also taken care of. The walkways are created so that people will keep safe. So it's supposed to be a holistic issue.
Mr. Baka, hold the line for me because I have a few more questions for you. I would like for us to talk about the fact that those who are supposed to ride bicycles on our roads are supposed to have permits or license before they ride on our roads. I know that elsewhere, people who are reckless on our roads and have driver's licenses, their driver's licenses are seized. I know of Wayne Rooney who had to go through such a thing. Does it happen here in Ghana? I'll come to you for some answers shortly. But Dr. Akka, I mean, there's just two reports from Bloomberg. One talks about road safety, in Kumasi in terms of accidents, and then the other talks about the risk factors, as to what causes these accidents. What's your take on the two reports? What do you make of them?
Okay, thank you, David, and greetings to Mr. Baka. So, looking at these two reports, the accident statistics says that for the year 2022, accidents increased. The number of road traffic accidents increased. That is for Kumasi. Let me consider Kumasi, and here is the KMA and some surrounding districts like Asokwa, Kwadaso, Asokore, Mampon, and Ofori Krom. It is not the entire expanded Kumasi region. It is the KMA and then the surrounding districts. Accidents increased from 1,255 to 1,550. That is a 24% increase. And fatalities dropped. So even though the number of accidents increased, the number of people who were killed in Kumasi decreased. And this is also in accordance with what we recorded nationally. So that is with the number of accidents recorded. Looking at the risk factors, the study looked at 4 risk factors: speeding, seat belts, helmet use, and child restraint use. And for Kumasi, excessive speeding, that is traveling above the recommended speed limit, was 33%. So that is it. So it is true that drivers are traveling beyond the posted speed limits, and it increases the risk of being involved and also the severity of the crashes.
Let's say how longer with the speed limits that we're talking about, because Mr. Bakan talked about the same thing. We'll talk about the helmet usage, the seatbelt usage, and of course, the child restraints and all that. But my question to you is this: we talk about people over speeding. Do we have speed limit signs to alert people that there's a speed limit allowed for this stretch, and people are going beyond it, or there are no signs, and so people are just doing anything at all?
David, I would say we don't have adequate signs in the city, and there is the need to place the recommended speed limit signs at the different sections of the roadway. But that notwithstanding, you see, the Road Traffic Act says that if you are traveling in a settlement area, you are supposed to travel at a maximum speed of 50 kilometers per hour. That is when you are within a settlement area. And I don't think here the law will say that there wasn't the posted speed limit. If you are in a settlement area, you have to travel at a maximum speed of 50 kilometers per hour. And then when you are in school zones, market areas, churches, that is 30 kilometers per hour. That is according to the Road Traffic Act 583. So that is on. But I think I agree that we don't have enough posted speed limit signs within the city.
And Dr. Aka, elsewhere, people are not necessarily compelled to put on the helmets or the seatbelts or the child restraints. Bottom line is, they themselves appreciate the essence of these things because it protects their lives. How come here in Ghana, we are not making use of these, stuff, these products?
Okay, so David, looking at the seatbelt, right? If you are restrained, and in the case of a crash, it prevents you from being thrown out of the vehicle and then hitting some objects off the road and then killing yourself.
Unfortunately, so do we have Dr. Aka on the line? Dr. Aka?
Yes, David.
Yes, so go ahead. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you have about 45% chance of not dying. That is when you are belted. With the helmet, it protects your head from an injury. You can have a fracture with your leg and you can still survive. But if your head is damaged, you die, right? So it's very, very important that we put on this safety equipment. And for child restraint, it's very, very important because, you see, in the case of a crash, usually what we do here is that we sit the babies on our laps. But when there is a crash, you, the adult, you are fighting for your life. And so you will not even know where the child will be in the crash. And so it's important that we use the appropriate restraint to restrain them. And the Road Traffic Act is very clear on this. When it comes to seat belts, what it says is that for adults beyond 18 years, it is your responsibility to wear the seatbelt. If there is a child between the ages of 5 to 18 in your vehicle, it is the responsibility of the driver to make sure that the child is properly restrained. And for a child less than 5 years, you have to use the appropriate seats to restrain the child. So these are very clear in our law. We spelled it. We have all the laws: helmet, seatbelt, speeding in our laws, and we just need to enforce them.
So if you look at the data that is available right now, where fatalities, has come down, although it's gone up for the youth between the age of 20 to 29, would you say that majority of them died as a result of the lack of these things? They were not in restraints, they were not in the protective gears? Okay,
so for the data which we discussed now, the Kumasi, what we seeing is that majority of the people who die are pedestrians and motorcyclists. And so these pedestrians are not affected by the seat belts or whatever. But the motorcyclists, it's clear that the rate of helmet use is low. From the surveys which we did, just 36% of motorcyclists are using helmets. And if you should go into the details, riders, you have 44%, and then the pillion riders or the motorcycle passengers, you just have 6% of them using seatbelt. So you are riding on your motorbike, you meet a friend or you take a friend there. Rider is wearing helmet, but the pillion rider is not. And these are things we need to check. Helmet wearing rate for motorcyclists is very low. And then if you are to do a detailed investigation into the number of motorcyclists, for instance, you realize that those who are being killed are the two-wheelers, right? You see, we have the Pragya, which is the rickshaw. You have the Aboboya, and then you have the two-wheelers. Those who are being killed are the two-wheelers. And the explanation is that because these vehicles are able to travel at very high speed, the two-wheelers, they travel at very high speed. In the case of a crash, the consequences are very high. But with the Pragya and then the Aboboya, usually they are not able to travel at very high speeds. And so we have more of the two-wheelers dying in motorcycle crashes.
Well, listeners, in case you just joined us, this is Love in the Morning, and yesterday, Multimedia Kumasi launched the 2023 Road Safety Campaign. Tomorrow we begin a brand new month, the month of December, which of course would usher in the Christmas festivities. So on our roads, both vehicular and human traffic will be very high. Unfortunately, we are recording, more crashes and some deaths on our roads. How do we stay safe between now and Christmas and even beyond? So this morning we're asking you, what message do you have for the Road Safety Authority? What message do you have for the DVLA? What message do you have for the MTTD? What would you want to even say to road users? Our WhatsApp number is 055-11-11995. Let's all share ideas as to how we can all stay safe, as we enter the Christmas festivities. Now, Mr. Abaka, I'll be coming back to you shortly. Hold on line for me. But, Dr. Akar, this is not the first time we're having some reports done, some data put together as to the causes and the risk factors of crashes on our roads and, on roads that are not safe and all that. What have we been able to do with these reports? How well have we been able to put them to use?
David, you need to understand why these crashes are occurring, where they are occurring, the road user types which are involved, and the reasons why, so that you'll be able to put in targeted measures, right? So the idea is to identify the locations where these crashes are occurring, do detailed investigation, and then come up with targeted measures to reduce them. And so these reports are very, very important. I agree that when it comes to enforcement, we've not performed very well. And when it comes to, let's say, the vehicle, for instance, looking at the pillars, the vehicles, for instance, Mr. Beckham mentioned that they are doing very well. They are doing their best to make sure that we have worthy vehicles, road-worthy vehicles on our road. But you see, David, these private garages which have come, now it is very easy to get your roadworthy certificate without sending your vehicle to the garages. And I will mention to Mr. Bakan that the DVLA should check this. Formerly, they were controlling it and they outsourced it to these private garages. But what is happening now is that some organized companies, and David here, let me be blunt, some insurance companies, you go there for insurance, they take your roadworthy papers, they are able to get your roadworthy certificate for you within a day. And these are organized companies, and I think it's very wrong. We need to do that. So if Mr. Abakan is saying that they crack the whip when they see some of these private garages misbehaving, then I think they should check that. There are some vehicles which are not supposed to be on the road, but we still find them there. And then the other pillar which we have to look at is the road and its infrastructure. It is also true that some of the roads are not very good. A lot of potholes, traffic lights are not working. If you should look at the report which was released, the location with the highest frequency of fatalities within the Kumasi area is Angonga Junction, right? Then the second is Boedi Junction. These are all intersections, and mostly the traffic lights at these locations are not working. And when you have a high volume of conflicting traffic without any control, it results in traffic accidents. A lot of indiscipline also on our roads, red light jumping, for instance. Mr. Becker mentioned non-provision for pedestrians in the case of pedestrian fatalities, so pedestrians will have to share the roadway with vehicles, which is not appropriate. So all these factors are there. We are aware, but we are not putting on the solution. We are not putting the solutions to make sure that we reduce the fatalities.
What is preventing us from doing that? You're saying that we're not putting the appropriate solutions. What is preventing us from doing that? Because you rarely talk about the traffic lights. There's a voice note that we have where the person says, well, traffic lights are not working. And even when they go off, when the lights goes off and the traffic light comes back on, you have to come and do some adjustments on the traffic light before it operates. So knowing all this, what is preventing us from doing the needful?
David, as I mentioned, we know all the solutions, but when it comes to implementation, and that is when enforcement will help a lot. I'm sure you go to the agencies, the road agencies, while the traffic lights are not working, they will have their reasons. I'm sure financing will come in while reconstructing the roads without pedestrian walkways. Areas with we don't have enough space by the roadside, and we find it difficult. Also, even controlling or preventing people from selling on the sidewalks and all those. So, David, we know all the problems. What we need to do is to implement them.
It means that we don't value life. That's what basically we're talking about here. We don't value lives, and that's how come people are dying. But Doc, hold the line for me. Mr. Bakam, I mean, when it comes to the data that we shared a while ago, we mentioned that pedestrian knockdowns and motorcyclists are key in the fatalities that we have recorded for the year 2022. My concern is when it comes to people who ride bicycles, per the law, aren't they supposed to get some permits or some license before they ride? Are they not supposed to be in protective gears like the motorcyclists have helmets to use?
Okay, so the LI 2180, the assemblies have the authority to issue permits to vehicles. It doesn't say rider permit, but it says that they need motorcycles needs to be registered or be given permit by the assemblies, and so that role was specifically given to the local authorities.
Auto, or you're talking about bicycles?
Bicycle. I'm talking about bicycle.
So, but is that being done? I mean, are we giving the requisite permits? Are they even conversant with the road, signages that they are using well? Are they wearing helmets themselves?
Well, you even notice that in Ghana, the incidence of bicycle usage is very low. Unfortunately, we are not a society that relies on bicycle. Probably it's the reason why the assemblies themselves have not taken up this activity, but they are having the mandate to ensure that motor bicycles are registered. Bicycles are registered.
So if it's not done, it means that we're doing something contrary to the law. What about seizure of people's license? So somebody has been given a license. The person is driving recklessly, endangering people's lives and all that. And yet the person is driving elsewhere, like I was saying to you, Mr. Bakan, a while ago. People have their license, revoked. They're taken away from them, at least seized for a while. Do we do that here in Ghana? Okay,
so in the LI, I'm not too, I can't quote you the particular clause, but the LI also states clearly how and why anybody's license could be revoked or suspended. It's outlined the LI. So that provision exists. And of course, it does happen. Previously our systems were standalone. And so that incident was difficult to enforce because somebody can and then go to another station. But currently, our systems are automated. And so it is very easy for us to, after seizing your license, to input it. And a lot of it does happen. Indeed. There are a lot of instances where people's licenses have been suspended or revoked. And your only recourse is applied to the courts or complete the assignment that you have been given to be able to get your license reinstated. Sometimes even the court orders for somebody's license to be withdrawn until they have gone through a certain kind of training. So it does happen, but probably not on the scale that we would probably wish it happens.
That bit of work. But Mr. Abekan, when we say don't drink and drive, what do we mean?
Okay, so I always say that, please, let's couch it well. Don't drink alcohol and drive, because even if you drink water, it's also permitted. And so don't drink alcohol and drive. We all know what alcohol does, or drugs. I mean, those psychopathic drugs, they does to our system. They gives us a certain false confidence, and we lose our judgment, and we are impaired in our judgment. And so as a result of that, we undertake very risky behavior. And so that is why the law is frowns on the use of alcohol, drunk driving, or use of drugs whilst driving.
So, Mr. Baka, having said this, Dr. Aka, my worry is that 4:30 p.m. onwards, on weekends, people park their vehicles by the side of the road at beer bars and they are drinking. So if we say we want to ensure safety on our roads, what are we really doing when people are drinking and driving?
So, David, if you should look at the statistics, you realize that people die during the weekends more than the weekdays from road traffic crashes. And if you should look at the risk factors like speeding, people are more likely to speed during the weekend. So these are the days where we need to do a lot of enforcement. That's why the data comes in very handy. You know where the problems are happening, and that is when you need to enforce, right? So during the weekend, you realize that a lot of drink driving going on. That is when you do drink driving measurements to arrest those who have drunk and then they are driving. Excessive speeding during the weekend. But we realize that usually the police are doing the enforcement during the weekday, which is not when the problems are occurring. We need to do targeted enforcement, right? You identify the problems and then the time when they are occurring so that you do the enforcement during those periods, but that's not what is happening.
So, Doc, as we have the youth dying more, in these road crashes, 20 to 29 years, how do we tackle this bit to ensure that the youth will conform and do the right things so at least their lives are saved?
Yeah, so David, I can look at it from two fronts. The first one is that you see these people are economically active, and so they travel a lot, and as you travel, you have a high probability of being involved in a crash. So because they are involved in economic activities most of the time, their lives is at risk. These people are also involved in high risky behaviors, right? Like drink driving, for instance, you are more likely to see a youth doing that as compared to an elderly person. Driving without seat belts, jumping of red lights, for instance. So they are also more likely to be involved in risky behavior. And so we will urge them to be careful when driving. When crossing the roads, they tend to take on a lot of risks, which an elderly person or even a female, the data also showed that males are more likely to die in crashes as compared to females. So it is these risky behaviors which results in the crashes, and education in this direction will help. And so, David, we need to do that.
Well, I hear you. So as we wrap up, let me come to you first, Mr. Amos Abaka. As we enter, December from tomorrow, and then all kind of activities will heighten up. What advice would you want to give to road users? Because we need to stay safe, not just for the Yuletide, but even beyond it. So what advice would you want to give?
Okay, so my advice would be that if each of us pledge as a personal commitment to reduce our speed during this time and beyond, we will be saving a lot of lives. Because road safety is a shared responsibility. The enforcement agencies cannot be everywhere. And so we owe it to ourselves to ensure that we do things that will not lead to road traffic accidents or crashes. And so my hope, my wish is that all of us within this period will make a personal commitment to reduce speed. Even within this December, normally visibility is very poor. So even it will not even allow you to travel within the stated speed. And so let's moderate our speed, because even under that condition, when anything happens, we are able to save the day. And again, we are also pleading. Most of those risky behaviors are occurring because people intervene. We are pleading. Let people face the penalty and the law. Once that happens, I'm sure they won't let it happen again. But if we always have to intervene to get people off the hook, the next time they will do worse. That will be my advice.
Well, I hear you. And for those people who drink and drive, they're not the only ones who are risking their lives. They are risking the lives of others. And this time around, it's not just about the alcohol they take. There are all manner of toffees. Yes. Toffees that has a lot of stuff in there. You stand true or false? Now, Dr. Aka, how would you also want to wrap up for us this morning?
Okay, David. So there again, the data tells us that more traffic deaths occur in the month of December. And so everybody should know that this is the month where you get more people dying from road traffic crashes. And so they should be careful. They have a higher probability of dying in December as compared to any other month. So we should all be careful when we sit behind the steering wheel, when we board a vehicle, when we're crossing the road. We should take care of ourselves. Thank you, David.
Thanks very much for your time, and of course, Mr. Amos Abakan, regional boss for the DVLA. Thanks very much for your time as well. Louis Stanley, Christmas festivities drawing near fast, but again, our own activities risks or puts us in harm's way. We keep doing this education, but unfortunately, people still do not listen. They don't value their lives. They don't value the lives of other people. You were telling me off air a while ago, a very good friend of ours who died. We're not mentioning names, but you are narrating to me what caused his death.
Yeah. So it was in the morning after a weekend, a weekend chilling, normal thing. So I was with a couple of friends when we heard that this mutual friend of ours had been in an accident. So we rushed to the mortuary at Kofanoche. Where the Kufo emergency is. They have a small mortuary before they transport the body to the main one.
You mean mortuary, yeah?
The mortuary. So we went there, and lo and behold, this friend was lying with a stretcher. And you could immediately smell the alcohol on his body.
On his breath, yeah. On his breath. I'm sure he wasn't breathing, actually, he was dead. So
you could smell that, he
had taken alcohol.
Intoxicated when the incident happened. And
so, but for that accident, but for the level of or the amount of alcohol he had taken, he would be alive by now.
Yes.
He could be alive by now.
He died. He actually died because he drove into
a tree.
He drove into a tree. And it was like he was speeding from the Golden Tulip area, going right up to Ghana Fire Service to
around the KMA area.
And the tree had fallen. He just drove straight into it. So if he had been, clear-minded, or if he was not intoxicated, there's a likelihood that he would have seen that ahead of him, and then he would have been.
And several people have lost their lives under the influence of alcohol and many other substances, and that's why we're embarking on this campaign. It's not just our fight; it's a collective thing. If we all would ensure that we advise people, we speak to people to stay within the speed limits, not to drink and drive, not to take all manner of toffees with all manner of stuff in there, we'll stay alive. Our friend would have been alive by now, I'm sure, if not for the amount of alcohol in his system. So what do you want to say to the Road Safety Authority? What do you want to say to the MTTD? What would you want to say to the DVLA between now, Christmas and beyond? 03220-83596, 03220-83597, and 03220-83598. What would you even want to say to road users in general? Christoph, good morning and welcome.
Yeah, good morning, my brother David Akwete. How are you, sir?
I am well.
I want to commend you guys. This is a good show, and it's also very timely. to create that awareness for people to know. David, last week somewhere, I was coming from Brekum. I went to MC some program and I was coming. David, it was an eyesore. What happened? There was this taxi who was being occupied by four people, and then a private vehicle, private car. They collided. The taxi was overtaking a particular vehicle, and lo and behold, there was a head-on collision with a private car and then the taxi. And David, the 4 people in the taxi died instantly. There was only one person in the private car. He was also being taken to the hospital. Whilst they were on the way going, he also died. If you look at how the car, the 2 cars, how they were beyond repair. David, we ought to be very careful. But the man you spoke to, he said that one of the number 1 factors of accidents is overtaking, overspeeding. David, that's a problem. So if I know that I have a date, I'm going somewhere, I should set off early. I shouldn't put pressure on my vehicle. I shouldn't drive over. And
thank you very much, Christopher, for the advice. We appreciate your call. We have Isaac on the line. We have Bafo on the line. You can also join us and say something to the MTTD, to the DVLA, to the road safety people, and of course to road users in general. Isaac, good morning. Let's hear you, sir.
Yeah, good morning, David.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, I think that the DVLA also has a major role to play in all of this, in the area of issuance of licenses. Realize that some of these things, yes, the influence of drugs and alcohol, but most people also have licenses. They've never been to the DVLA to go through any form of test or anything. They cannot even interpret road signs, so they don't even understand the route they are using. Like some of the road signs are by the road, you see them, but the signs on the road, the markings on the road also speaks volume. But they don't know all of these things, and some of these things are also the reason why accidents are happening. So I would appeal to the DVLA that anybody that is issued license must go through a form of test to ascertain whether or not he is able to drive on our roads. Thank you
very much, Isaac, for joining us. Good advice you give. Bafo is next on the line. Abdul, please hold the line for me. Abdul, Bafo, welcome. Good morning.
Good morning, David.
Hi, Bafo.
You see, the incident that Leo was referring to, that incident that night, it happened in front of me. Not the accident, but the tree falling. There were 2 accidents that night. And the first one involved a Tundra vehicle. Aside the fact that the gentleman was drunk, the obscure nature of where the tree was a big problem. I stood there that night to direct traffic for like 3 hours. The police came and I left. You see, through the negligence of 2 police officers, the guy lost his life because they were supposed to mount a barrier there. They were assigned to that scene that night, but they left, went home to sleep, and that incident happened. I filed a petition back then and forced the police administration to set up a police inquiry. The 2 of them were found guilty, and they were charged appropriately. So sometimes the duty of the police, and then we ourselves, we are so intolerant. I tell you, I have observed a number of things on the road. People are so intolerant that they know very well that if at this point I move another step, I will crash. But they will go. Sometimes they are driving and facing you. They know, but because they think that they are in the right way at that particular moment, they don't have to give chance. But I think we should be each other's keeper. If you are driving and you know that at this point I should save a brother, then just step on the brake and save a brother. But sometimes they won't, because they are in the right of way. So once I'm in the right of way, you are the wrong person. So I'll come. If we crash, fine. So patience, tolerance, and lack of proper judgment on the road is a big issue, especially overtaking.
You couldn't have said it better. And although the police will not be there to direct the traffic as we would want them to, or mount barriers and all, if you are not under the influence or beyond certain limits, your judgment would be better, your vision will be better, But I think Balfour couldn't have said it any better than
the reason why I said that night, where the tree had fallen, it was on the top of the hill. The whole place was dark. I think it was a light source or something. So even if you are, normally when you use that route, you are descending the Ridge police station. You think that is so you keep going. The tree was at a very bad position, and I knew that somebody would crash into it. 2 vehicles crashed into it that night.
I recall vividly the 2 vehicles.
Had poor judgment to. Sometimes when we are assigned to situations, the police should help us. They should be diligent in the way they do their jobs. Sometimes it's not about just taking these things, but make sure that the people are doing the right thing. That's all.
Thank you very much, Balfour. Abdul, sorry for making you hold the line for so long, but let's hear you. Stephen, please hold the line for me. Abdul, go ahead. We lost Abdul on the line. I think we lost Abdul on the line. Let's speak to Stephen. Hi, Stephen. We lost Stephen too? Okay, so all the lines went dead. Unfortunately, all the lines went dead. But Abdul, I'm sure you have some contributions to make. You can call us back. Stephen, you can also call us back, and let's hear from you. The numbers to call 03220-83596, 03220-83597, 03220-83598. I know I made some of you hold the line for so long. Apologies. Hi, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
What's your name?
Mr. Dave is Mansour.
Mansour, good to have you. But Abdul and Stephen, call me back. Mansour, go ahead. Let me hear you.
Mr. Dave, you have this documentary called Please. We want to watch that documentary again. Look, since I watched that documentary, I stopped jumping the red light. Seriously. I don't drive, I ride. And I use helmets all the time. So to my fellow riders, helmet saves life. Crossing the red lights causes death. So please, they should stop. And that documentary, Mr. Dave, we want that documentary back.
I hear you. Mansour, thanks very much for calling. And Charlie, what he said, he's right too. Motorcyclists, the way they jump red lights. Yeah. Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, boss. What's your name, sir?
Anas, calling from Abepo.
Anas from Abepo. Anas, welcome, sir. Let's hear you.
Just a little suggestion. I would request very passionately that this program should be repeated in chief.
Hi, Anas.
Yes, I'm here.
Please go ahead.
Yes, my suggestion is that this program that you just hosted is so educative that I wish it was done in chief, so that people who cannot understand the English language properly can also participate. I have a feeling that most of the people who do all the wrong things that we are talking about are the uneducated, most of them. So this is my request to you that this program be repeated in chief in other local languages.
Well, I hear you, Anas. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the contribution on the show. But again, in as much as I appreciate the fact that and Inshallah will be doing more of such conversations in the coming days. In as much as I appreciate that we need to do it in Chi, there are some people who understand English, speak English, but are very reckless and careless on our roads. So it's for all of us. It's for all of us. Mansour, for example, called and said he, after watching that documentary, listening to the documentary, he has stopped jumping red lights. People jump red lights as if their lives don't matter. Your life matters. And so let's all be safe on our roads. Let's be each other's keeper. Like Balfour said, I mean, there are times when you know very well that a move of yours on the road could cause somebody's death, could bring an accident. Yet, Charlie, let's go on to our WhatsApp console. What are people saying there?
Yeah, hello, Dave. Good morning. Yeah, there's Isaac. I would want to take this opportunity to commend you and your crew for this wonderful program this morning. Yes. For me, I think that the DVLA has a major role to play in this. Let's ask ourselves, how many vehicles on the road go to the DVLA or its subsidiaries where they've the subsidiary stations who are able to do the roadworks and then issue roadwork certificates to vehicles. Most of these vehicles do not go to the DVLA at all, yet they end up getting their roadworthy certificates. And I think that this is very bad, and it doesn't augur well for the transport sector in the country. And for me, I think that is probably the records will not show, but I think that is one of the reasons why there are rampant accidents on our roads, because our vehicles, most of the vehicles that are not roadworthy, go for the roadworthy without going through the process and all that. So
I hear you, my brother. Thanks very much. And I'm told that Anas is back. Wants to add something to what he said. Anas, please, let's hear you. Do we have Anas back on the line? I think we lost Anas. All right. So this has been today's edition of Love in the Morning. We say that we have launched, the 2023 edition of the Road Safety Campaign as Christmas draws near. Tomorrow is the 1st of December. Let's, be each other's keeper on our roads. Meanwhile, listen, I want you to have this at the back of your mind, that if you really want a bank that will sort you out big time, it should be ABSA. Now, take the shoemaker, for example, in that area, or the tomato seller in that area. That shoemaker doubles as a shop attendant at the corner store during the day, and also plays football with his friends on the park in the evenings. And just like him, we are all more than one thing. That's why ABSA provides banking solutions for the many sides of you. Now, whatever your need for the different sides of you are, ABSA has the products and services that can help you get it all done. Join ABSA to get every kind of banking solutions for every kind of you. Visit the nearest ABSA branch or absa.com.gh for more information. Meanwhile, Anointed Electrical, Engineering Services Limited is into the sales of ultra-silent generators, and they have 5 kVA to 2,500 kVA. They also undertake, maintain, and repair all kinds of diesel engine generators. Now, they also stock genuine spare parts of all kinds for the various generators that they service and repair. They are also into generator rentals. Locate them here in Kumasi at Asokwa, off the Mayanka Road at TAT Yard. In Accra, you can find them at number 77 Anointed House off the Odoko Malam Road. Call them on 0243 480 334 or 0544 340 589 and engage with them. Listen, what is your preferred color of tank? Well, Syntex has it. What guarantee do you want? Syntex has it. What kind of inner layer do you want? Double, triple, quadruple? Well, as many inner layers as you want, Syntex has that one too. So remember, no matter your water needs, Syntex has it. Syntex tank, you're strong, you're tough. Now, they have over 300 agents nationwide, and to order a tank, you need to call 0244 335 168. Visit Syntex on social media at Syntex Ghana, or you can shop online on www.syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, you're strong, you're tough. Now, World Airlines is thrilled to celebrate 10 years of customers' loyalty on their Lagos route. Now, to join them in celebrating this milestone, seize the opportunity to book your tickets for as low as $164 one way with taxes included. Head to your their website or download the mobile app to secure your seats now and take advantage of this incredible offer. Thank you for continuously choosing African World Airlines for all your travel needs. African World Airlines, touching Africa, touching the world. Now, if you're looking for an opportunity to study abroad, or maybe you're facing challenges in your applications for international admissions, visa, and general travels, ASOLinks International provides advisory on overseas education, general travel, and as well as immigration issues. Now, they have specialized in countries such as Australia, UK, USA, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, and many more. They also offer professional advice on general travel and tours. Locate ASOLinks International at 4A Popo Street, East Legon, adjacent to Melcombe in Accra. At Kumasi, here in Kumasi, they are at the basement at the Kumasi City Mall, and at the Liberation Road in Takoradi. You can call them on 0550-199-991 or visit their website www.asolinks.net. All right, so at this point in time, we have some more messages for you, after which we'll join the feed for that conversation on the Super Morning Show. The OSP, or the SP, Kise Jabeng, has a lot of things, the frustration he's going through as he tries to do his job. That conversation is on the Super Morning Show right after these.
Daffy's Ohima New. Daffy's Ohima Feminine Miss Chanty. A massa bosomene so Emma. Ye bui and Sayente Yobia. A san CSC man cassa. Daffy Busiana Ekese. In tear their mouth for comfort and new panel. Daffy's shower gel. And pour no money. You want to dear, and a cocoa dear. What did Jaria? A man natural look.
Mensu de Misu Daffy's feminine cleanse and a capsules ne CSM. Emma mintin carboni be a me Jimmy Hoodia and Cassa.
Daffy Nupano, and what dance here be Daffy Sana, Abama Yenina.
Open a did with Duffy's Health and Beauty Ewo East Legon American House, Kumasi so ye bank tech hospital, and ye map him for
FDA aji didn't cut to yatu.
Why risk having your visa denied when you have Excel Plus education? Do you have an offer to study in the UK, Canada, USA?
There we go. Hopefully we should hear you now. Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. It's great to have you on the show,
you
sir.
And your colleagues.
Yes, yes. So, let me start with this just to get your preliminary comments on this very simple question. Is the special prosecutor being buffeted by corruption?
Let me say that I hope you know my position on fight against corruption.
Mm-hmm.
No one ever fights corruption and go or went scot-free. Once you start fighting corruption, you should be ready. Corruption will fight you back. And I think the special prosecutor should know this. Maybe, I don't know his background, where he has worked and his services in the public sector in particular. But being a lawyer, I'm sure he will have a bit of ideas about this. And it is normal. Corruption will never sit idle or aloof for you to fight it. No. The corrupt are very aggressive. They will use all means possible to fight you. So it is very normal. And I'll be surprised if the special prosecutor did not know this. Regrettable as it is, though. I'm not saying it is the right thing to do, but that is what it is all around the world. The corrupt fight back like nobody's business.
Well, we'll find out if that is actually what is happening to the special prosecutor in the examples he's giving us of what's happening to him with some of these court cases. Is it corruption that is fighting back, or is it something else? Daniel Domelevo will help us with that in just a moment. But first, experience the excellence and global recognition of a British education combined with the convenience and affordability at Lancaster University, Ghana. Expand your horizons and elevate your career prospects with a British degree delivered right to your doorstep. Apply now and embark on a transformative educational journey that will shape your future. Admissions are currently open for the January 2024 intake. If you want to know more, go to lancaster.edu.gh. You can also email admissions@lancaster.edu.gh or call 0302 218 989. You can also try 0209 607 008. Lancaster University, Ghana, the only British university campus in West Africa.
Why risk having your visa denied when you have Excel Plus education? Do you have an offer to study in the UK, Canada, USA, or Australia this September? Do you require professional guidance on how to submit your visa application? For a free support on all aspects of your visa and student application, get in touch with Excel Plus Education right away. Call or WhatsApp us for no cost at all on 0243 334894 or 0246 725909. Excel Plus Education, putting you in charge.
I wake up in the morning, it's a new day, and I got bills that I have to pay. Now you're running late, running out of time. Feels like the world is waiting in line. All you gotta do is pick up the phone and just dial.
So whatever you do, there is an easy way for everyone. The simple life is just one touch away. Experience the magic starting today.
And it all begins with
You see, I don't need to write or cash a check. I don't need data or internet. I have something that's faster than a jet. Just like
what are you talking about?
You could have